And to have both of these guys as French homegrowns is the kind of thing that's going to make you win a championship. It is truly phenomenal team building from them in the early parts of this preseason. Hello everybody, welcome to ELF Signing Centre. Another packed show today for the fans to enjoy. But before we get into that, do not forget to like and subscribe to the European League of Football channel and to watch the 24-hour live stream that's currently happening right now to get caught up to date with what happened last season. Not only that though, go and watch Nick Alfieri's interview with star running back Tomowa Ayewo on One-to-One. It's an excellent interview. Not only that though, we've also got a redesign for the website of the European League of Football. And not only that, but we also have ELF Live coming back next Friday. All of this would not be possible without Euronics, who is the sponsor of the 2025 ELF season. That being said, let's talk about some signings. Now, before we get into the signings, a lot of people know the schedule of the European League of Football, but we do have a lot of new fans coming into the sport in Europe, from outside of Europe, and maybe some younger fans as well that have not experienced the ELF. So, some people might ask, how does a team become the champion of Europe? Let's talk about the playoff scheduling and seeding. Now, if you're a pre-existing ELF fan, you'll be very familiar. However, there have been some small changes due to the new 4-division format. All division winners and the two teams with the best record that do not win the division will make the playoffs. The division winners are ranked from seed 1 to 4, depending on their record. Seed 1 and Seed 2 will have a bye week in the wildcard round and will also have home field advantage in the semi-finals. Seed 3 will play Seed 6, Seed 4 will play against Seed 5. The winners of these games move on to the semi-finals. In the semi-finals, Seed 1 will play against the lowest remaining seed. The winners of the semi-finals will advance to the championship game, which will take place in Stuttgart this year. The team with the higher seed will have home field advantage in the final. And that wraps up the playoff structure for the 2025 season. Not too much different, just some small adjustments, but always good to keep the league transparent. Now, about those signings. Kicking us off, the Raiders Tyrrell have signed their first American on defense. Aaron Maddox played 5 years in college, most notably with Colorado before moving into the Indianapolis Colts as part of their preseason. He actually did make a few tackles on the special team during that preseason and shows to be an exceptional athlete. He ran a 4.5 at his pro day and had a 37-inch vertical as well as pro day. He's an excellent player when it comes to movement. His hips, his speed, his burst, all NFL level. So I'm expecting a lot of that to translate to the Raiders Tyrrell. He is going to be playing a lot of safety for them, which was a position that I think they needed a little bit more of additional athleticism in last season when they missed the playoffs. He is a big time player. I'm expecting him to be an instant impact signing. I like it a lot. I think it's a great move, great experience. He's young as well, only just out of college in the last couple of seasons. I think it's a great signing. Very important for them propelling themselves towards that playoff picture. Do you think the Raiders can make the playoffs? I'm still a little bit shaky, but I think this is a step in the right direction. The Cologne Centurions is a team we talked about a lot over the last couple of weeks, and it doesn't end here. I think they are taking some risks with their Americans. First and foremost, Alex Altius, defensive end / outside linebacker, is kind of more in that rush category. And he does have a very, very deep rush move bag, but he has lacked production in college, and that's the big thing for me. He played at Eastern Illinois, he played at Stetson University, and he didn't stand out massively in a statistical standpoint, which is a big sign. It could be either they weren't using him correctly in the system, although he did play in 2 different systems, or he's a great athlete and needs to be tuned, or maybe he's just not that top level of pass rusher. I think this will be a question that unfolds over the first few weeks. He is, of course, a great athlete. He played at Division 1 level, but there are some questions about how he can transition that into Europe and if he can make everything click with his pass rush moveset. The second player they have announced on the American category this week was Austin Osborne. Previous player in Europe, played in Germany last season, had a very successful season. He's a bigger frame at 6'2". I think that he's going to be a lot of a sideline receiver for them. He can come inside. He's a great route runner. He's very refined, has great hands and great ball tracking. However, I do not think he's an elite movement specialist, and I have questions about his ability to create space from those elite defensive backs. He's taking a step up in competition, but he has had good success at a D1 level with the Huskies and with Bowling Green. So I think that he will be able to make this transition. It's just more so of, can Cologne give him the ball? They do not have an offensive line. As of right now, nothing. So that's a question coming in is Musa going to be able to get Osborne the ball early and often and allow him to make these sideline plays and allow him to be creative with his route tree? And although Cologne started very slowly during the preseason of the ELF in 2025, they actually do have quite a nucleus of players coming together. You've got Osborne and Musa, the two Americans on the offensive side of the ball, and then you've got Jad Jackson at the pass rush as a Brit, alongside Alex as another pass rush. So you can kind of see what Cologne is thinking and what they're trying to formulate as an identity for this team. And it's really positive to see. It's just, how is that going to translate? And that's going to be a big question for Cologne. Jack Del Rio's Paris Musketeers have started to reinforce that defense with French talent. And if you know anything about Jack Del Rio, former NFL defensive coordinator who has produced some of the best linebacking talents that the world has ever seen. Now he has Dejan Gomez back for 2024, who is one of the most versatile players in all of ELF. Outside linebacker, inside, come off the edge. He played corner for a couple of snaps last season. He can play everywhere. He's a great tackler. He has one of the highest motors at the linebacker position. He's one of the very few that can affect the run and cover in the pass. I think he's going to be such an important piece in Jack Del Rio's defense. That is not the only French talent they have signed. They've also got first team, all defensive end Stanley Zedegbe, and to have both of these guys as French homegrowns is the kind of thing that's going to make you win a championship. It is truly phenomenal team building from them at the early parts of this preseason. Now, what does Stanley Zedegbe bring to the Paris Musketeers? Now, he is a phenomenal pass rusher, first and foremost, one of the league leader in sacks last season, but his hands, he's very quick with his hands, and his release is one of the best that you'll see in Europe. He's also a hard hitter and can pop linebackers and running backs behind the line, and we've seen him do that a number of times with some forced fumbles mixed in there as well. He's a big playmaker, and I think that he's one of the most underrated players in the league. Like, people know that he's really good, and he was voted as first team All-Pro for a reason, but he's really special. He's coming into his prime, and I think that if I was picking a European to lead in sacks, it would probably be Stanley Zedegbe. I have no notes. He's phenomenal. Now, this next segment is not necessarily dedicated to a team per se, just a few signings that I think some people might have missed. However, that being said, 3 of them are from one team, and that is the Berlin Thunder, who are very quietly building a very good young core of German gems. In particular, Marcel Alvarez-Plata, Emil Fuchs, and also Neville Kruger. Marcel Plata from Hamburg. They brought him in. He's a shorter linebacker, but he's twitchy, he's angry, he plays aggressive. And then you've got Emil Fuchs, who is a former Offensive Rookie of the Year nominee. He's a great running back, only had a couple hundred yards last season, but stepped up really well when Gerald Alman was hurt during the mid-season. And then Neville Kruger, I think, is the best of the bunch. Defensive end, played for the Surge last season, went massively under the radar, but a former D3 standout. I think that he's seriously got potential. He's only 24 years old, but he has length, he has motor, he has extremely active hands, he can ball rush, he can show a bit of finesse, and I think he's special, I really do. So expect him to be the standout in that defensive line, next to a couple other players like Aaron Grossman-Klein. I think Berlin are going to have some foundation set for the future with these signings. Now, one you might have missed if you're not following Swiss youth football, however I am, and one of them is RJ Sagner, one of the best Swiss prospects ever, which should say a lot. At the defensive end position, he already holds a D1 offer from Penn State, and it's very clear to see why. He's an athletic freak. His frame is just built for a D1 athlete. He looks incredible. I do think that he's not going to have like a massive statistical output because he is young. He has got college to go to, so I don't think they're going to be playing him in every single snap of every single game. But the very high potential, the high ceiling is very evident. I think this one's going to age well. He'll go to Penn State with the Mercenaries experience. I think it's good for both parties. He is going to be special. You're going to see the hints of a D1 athlete in him. I do think he's going to refine his pass rushing technique in Switzerland, in Helvetic, because that's probably the position they have the best of as homegrowns. Great signing for everyone, gets him some valuable playtime, gets them a D1 athlete at defensive end, gets Penn State a little bit more experience for their freshmen. I'm super excited to see him. I think fans should really just take in this moment because this could be big when he succeeds at Division 1 level. I am so happy I get to talk about Darius Nash for the last topic of the day. I thought that Darius Nash was going to be the best safety coming into 2024. I really thought he was going to be great. Unfortunately, he got hurt early in the season, only really played 2 games, so we were not able to see the full potential of him. However, former UFL safety has played around North America, very aggressive, very active hands in coverage, knives through routes really, really well. I thought he was the perfect dancing partner for Amari Williams, more the ball player. He can play the ball as well, but he is more physical than Amari. Amari's more about the finesse. Nash was more about the violence and that side of defensive back, and I thought they were a perfect unit. We get to see that again, which I am super happy with. He's coming back to the Rhine Fire in 2025. Love this signing. Cannot wait to see him play a full season. And that has come to the conclusion of ELF Signing Center. Make sure to go and watch Nick Alfieri's one-to-one interviews. They've been fantastic, and I cannot wait to team up with him again for ELF Live coming next Friday. It's going to be a hell of a ride. I love doing ELF Live. It's one of my favorite things to do. Thankful for the ELF for the opportunity. See you guys then. Thank you, and goodbye.